Okay, welcome to lesson 21. Well, this is where we are going to continue on making the armor neck collar. We are just still in low topology at the moment, just using the grab tool, just sped things up because we've got a lot to cover again. There is so much sculpting involved. I have went through hours and hours of footage and tried to take out all the boring bits of sculpting, resculpting over and over and over again, as you will find out yourself that you will do. Once you are ready, I'm going to remesh. Just press R to remesh with the count and then press Ctrl R to take form on the mesh. I've done that a few times for the collar, and as you can see, I'm just smoothing things over, rebuilding it up, grabbing it, using the draw sharp tool, and then remeshing again. Sometimes now and again, after doing a little bit at a time and then remesh, doing some more, if you're pulling the geometry around a lot, it definitely helps if you then remesh it a few times over sometimes, just to reset the topology and let it settle. So as you can see here at the front, I'm using scrape brush just to give the sharper edges of the front bit of the collar, making the little emblem for the front of the neck. I'm just going off what I've seen from inspiration and idea videos, pictures, is what I'm just going off now. Just drawing in where the collar would be, and then I will be creating the edges of the collar just using the draw sharp brush. That would be to draw over. Nice little trick if you want to isolate the object you are sculpting. If you press question mark, that's forward slash, you can isolate that object, and if you press forward slash or the question mark button again, you will then see everything come back again. This is very handy for when you're trying to see what's going on behind things that you can't sculpt, like so. So the forward slash button helps a lot.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, Alexa decides to talk to me. That's a bit random. Never mind. I put a little lump in the front of the necklace. I don't think I like that. I'm going to probably take that out and then just reform the little gemstone at the front there, probably turn it into like a diamond or a cross kind of shape perhaps. But a lot of trial and error again. When you have an idea in your head what you want to make it look like, it's just a lot of practice, just practicing with a sculpt brush over. It doesn't have to be too neat. I think I spent far too long just doing this than what I actually needed to. Because we will go over it in a more depth of topology, making it more straight and sharp for other purposes, either for rigging the avatar for a game or making it ready for 3D printing. So as we just go over, I'm just smoothing things along the collar, making things look nice. I noticed it was not as high as the shoulders. I want to keep things in sort of level at the top. As you can see here, I want to keep a nice thickness at the top of the collar going all the way around. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble just increasing the depth on the edges of the mesh, but it's not to worry. Just using the draw sharp, control and click and drag to push in the geometry, shift and left mouse button to smooth, and then just draw it back on by pressing left mouse button, and then just smoothing everything over, and then again now and again just press the grab tool to grab things out. I was just experimenting here, just seeing what I could do with the bottom part of the neck there, as I believe it would be hidden and out the way. Sometimes now and again it's good to symmetrize your mesh, so clicking the drop down arrow next to your X, Y and Z axes. If your mirror is not turned on, it probably should be, because otherwise it won't look symmetrical. But don't worry, if it's not, that's not to panic. You can still click the drop down arrow and then symmetrize your mesh. Just make sure it's on the right axes, like in this case it'll be -x to x, and then just select that in the drop down menu and hit symmetrize. So after we have, oh yeah, also sometimes when using, say, the scrape brush, so not scrape, sorry, the clay strip brush, I didn't realize, if you miss the geometry, sometimes it will put holes in the geometry the other side. I don't know why it does this. It might be because the brush can't read where it exactly needs to be. It might be some sort of defects or some sort of an error in Blender, I don't know, but it is a bit bizarre. Anyway, once you're happy and you're done with that, we're going to shrink the shoulders down a little bit because I thought they were a bit too thick, and we're then going to shrink the blades down, which we'll come to later. I'll shrink them down to 0.8, but that just best fits to what I have at the moment, and then I'm just editing the little sphere, and it's mirrored, so that's fine. Okay, so next piece of armor we're going to work on, this is the third new bit, is a bit more trickier. We're going to bring in a UV sphere, Shift A, UV sphere, in edit mode only. We're going to scale it up on the Z-axis and then scale it down. Now we're going to line this up with our bottom part of our arm. This is the arm blade we are going to make for our futuristic armor for our fantasy avatar. It is good. If your arm is not straight, I would recommend trying to get that straight. Just use a grab brush and zoom out, and then just grab your hand and just move it slightly back or forwards, just so it's sort of semi-straight like you've seen here. And then when you're scaling down in edit mode, just using the gizmo, the transform tool, to move it backwards and forwards like so. And then when you're happy with that, we are then ready for sculpting. So I've got the bottom bit of the sphere in the hand or the wrist, and then the top bit just inside the elbow, which is fine because we will grab and push that in. I think I'll just rotate it a little bit more just to make it look a little better, and then we should be ready to sculpt. Okay, what we're going to do is set the origin to the center of the geometry. Go to edit mode, and then, well, go back to sculpt mode. What we're going to do is we are going to make sure our mirror is turned on the y-axis, because we want the y-axis plus y to minus y this time. You drop down some symmetry button like so. I'm just going to rechange that, plus y to y, sorry. This is going to help when we are mirroring the object, as you can see. So very similar to like we did to the shoulders, and then we are just going to smooth this down. This is just a random design. I've seen so many different types of armor, different types of really cool looking armor sets and stuff. I've seen in many MMO multiplayer games. It's one of my big dreams to actually design and create armor for a big AAA game, and one day, maybe, touch wood, hopefully, I would hopefully get there and help design some big fantasy games with some awesome ideas on creating random armor, which would be fantastic. I'd love to do that. But here we are at the moment, and we are just going over in large topology. We won't remesh just quite yet, and I want to add like a spike above the hand, just trying to get that straight. Okay, I think I'm going to end it here just before we remesh the armor wrist arm piece. I think that is a good place to stop it for now, and we will continue this in the next lesson.